Greetings. My name is Michael Miller, and this is a Michael Miller Pilates YouTube live broadcast on, I think, August 10th, 2017. I think the broadcast from yesterday that I hoped were individual files got connected all together, and I'm interested to see if today's broadcast appends to what happened yesterday or comes out as a file of its own or replaces what happened yesterday, perhaps just as well. So there's just two things on my list today to go over with you, and one is how to draw a cornu, or at least a cornu curve. Just start in the middle of the page and make a coil going inward like that. Like that. It's a grip at the hip. But make the hips. And then as a coil going the other way, see that? That shape is known as the cornu spiral, or the Euler curve, or what Fresnel put a equation to, and that the math of that curve is used to bank highways and to design roller coasters. So this curve I call the cornu spiral. The other person discovered it, Euler, E-U-L-E-R, however you pronounce that, in the movie Ramanujan. It seems to me they pronounce it Euler, which I always thought was Euler. But in any event, they're talking about this curve in space. So to draw that, I would just again say, start in the middle and make a curl in one way, and then go back to where you started and go the other way. Knowing that in your mind you're sort of trying to connect both of them on a line. So that if you made the line first, right, and started on the line and went down and made a grip that circled on that line, and went the other way to circle around and end up on the same line. You see what I'm saying? And you have, I think, if you really want to embrace this intellectually, you have to be able to draw it. And because you're a Google audience instead of a Facebook Live audience, I don't want to miss how important it is to be able to draw the image as an aid to helping you find the engagement that the image points to get all the benefits that come from that. So usually from there, this is the hips and this is the shoulders, right? I start at the sternum of the shoulders, the front of the chest, and go up and around like that. And then I go for the knees. I start at the buttocks and come down to make the knees. right? And then the ankles, and then the metatarsals, from the heel up and around the metatarsals. Big cat paw metatarsals. Okay? But to me, that's a cornu spiral in the middle with other cornu tensions connecting one another. Especially, most dynamically and pronounced, between the shoulders, and the ears. Easiest to find, which is odd because for me in teaching Pilates, one of the hardest things is helping a person, a student, find where their head belongs in space. And to me, the only way you can do that is by creating tension. Like in a rubber band, you create tension between 2 points, right? And it's in creating that tension and listening to the sensation that comes off of the creation of that tension that gives your head the right place to be in space. Because it's lined up off of the tension that's created between the rotation of the head around the axis through the ears against the shoulder rotation that's going the other way. So, practice drawing cornu. Draw the hips, and that immediately you know which way the image is facing. Draw the shoulders, and there's a cornu spiral curve, a Euler curve that's defined by Fresnel as an integral. Okay, it's math and physics. And then from the chest, from the sternum, up and around to make the head. See the head and see the chest and see the engagement. And then from the buttocks, coming down long enough to actually be a thigh. Okay, see that? And then from the kneecap down and around to make the ankle, articulation of the ankle. And then from the heel up and over and around to make big cat claw at the metatarsals. So the metatarsals and around the ears are the two most distant endpoints of rotation that the body accomplishes in the biology that it has. At least within my imagery of cornu and that oppositional tension between axes, as a means to enhance more uniform usage of the musculature for the load being borne, either still and standing or in moving through space. Right? So, know that the cornu spiral, also known as the Euler curve, and as the Fresnel integral for the Euler curve, all represent that one thing of a relationship of a curve like this. And when you're engaging your arms, rotating in one direction and around your ears in another direction, I call that cornu tension. And when you engage in that kind of tension, what happens if this were an octopus, is what I used to teach this as, and the octopus grabbed on two bars and pulled, tightened their grip, what would happen? Well, the grip would pull the middle apart. And it's where that curve changes direction. The inflection point, that is the true point of eccentricity between two axes in opposite rotation of one another. And so, okay, I'm sorry if I've fallen into this. The core is a grip at the hips. It's a fact of science that it's a grip at the hips. And maybe it's just culture and taboo or stigma that robs us of acknowledging that obvious interplay between biology and the movement that the biology seeks to accomplish. Through the physics in which the movement exists. Okay? Be able to draw a Cornu spiral just to show how one rotates against the other, ears, arms. It's very practical. And you embed that little bit of sensation or ability in somebody. You turn on the notion that there is more where that comes from. And I would say, okay, where does that come from, or where does that lead to? Core tension leads to uniform engagement that you're seeking to, when you do Pilates, to get the result of uniform development. Okay? I can't believe I've started saying adult. And I'll probably change it when I type out the title in the Facebook broadcast, if I do one, which I doubt, because this is my attempt today, in the moment, to speak to you if you're interested about what my latest thing is, and that's don't make Pilates carry your baggage. So don't make Pilates carry your baggage. And perhaps too many examples would be dangerous, but one that's easiest to point out is the number of repetitions you do of an exercise. If your background, your baggage, comes from an arena where repetitions are de rigueur, which means routine, it's standard practice, right? When you bring that standard practice into Pilates, you might just miss the point of Pilates altogether. And even Joe wrote about too many repetitions builds up toxins, which I would refer to as lactic acids. And so there's an example of the point I wanted to make about not bringing your baggage into Pilates under the presumption that it somehow makes Pilates better. And that applies to all kinds of backgrounds and all kinds of assumptions about how to change or include or enhance or do whatever to the movement or the instruction or the interpretation that in some way creates a load, like balance. We did sign language last time, that gets in the way of the experience. Because for Michael Miller Pilates, one of 10,000 other ways to look at Pilates, For Michael Miller Pilates, the target is the experience in the moment of the doing. And I believe the more you understand how to hit that target, that experience, the safer, definitely the safer, and the better, faster rewards will come from that. Does for me. Did for me. All right, so those are the two things. And core retention. Is a sensation that you can feel. And it's an image, just a little image, just this image, just that is an image that turns the key for me about how to engage. And once you allow yourself to blow up your mind and recognize that the biology accomplishes a grip at the hip in order to stabilize around an axis. This whole thing is about stabilizing our body with rotational grips. A grip at the shoulder, a grip around the ears, around axes. Rotation stabilizes movement. It's a long time three-word aphorism from the very beginning. It comes from when I was taught Pilates, I was taught to pull my stomach in and to squeeze my buttocks and then to use my inner thighs. And so it was always stomach, buttocks, and inner thighs, stomach, buttocks, and inner thighs. And it was a center that just had arrows. It was stomach, buttocks, inner thighs, and to engage those to stabilize my core. Right? Honestly, all I wanted was a simple way to think of three things at once. And the way I thought of three things at once was in this image of grip. Okay? Dry here. In this image of grip. Stomach, buttocks, inner thighs is a way of engaging as a grip. Envisioning a grip took me out of linear thinking. In a way, see, I think of this sort of as linear thinking. And took it into tension, biological tension. Tension is a good thing. It's a bad thing if it's a bad thing, and that's what you're referring to, is something bad. But in Michael Miller Pilates, the brand and the way it looks at the world, tension is a good thing, and we engage in tension to move through space, to stand up straight, to eat, to drink, to poop. All of it is the use of muscle, and that muscular engagement creates tension. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines. See behind the curtain. Add two and two. Direct your own thinking. And Geist.